And to have opportunities in some of these games and just not been able to get it done. And so for us, all we can do is put our head down and work and try to make the most of these last 4 games on the schedule. And like I was saying earlier, just we'll have to just see what happens from there.
Cowboy quarterback Andy Dalton after another loss, 34-17 on your very popular Tuesday night football. You heard it here on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal, your home for the National Football League. Cowboys lose to the Ravens, so they did not keep pace with the rest of the NFC East, pulling some sort of an upset over a team that was deemed to be superior. They are 3-9. Good day, y'all. What's up on a Wednesday? It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck, Micah producing on the radio side. It's Josh and Shoulder over on the ProView side. Oh, that's Alden's Shoulder. That's what I thought. What's up, dude? How you living?
Good morning. What it do?
I do a lot. So that's what I expected last night. Probably a little more offense than maybe I expected. I expected a little bit more out of the Baltimore defense. But a team that can't stop the run all year long got run through, over, and around, and it was a better Baltimore Ravens team that just – and I can't even pin this on the offense. I mean, Andy Dalton threw for 285 yards. Granted, a lot of it was in garbage time towards the end. Zeke at times ran well, but when you give up 294 yards rushing, 200 – that's collegiate-like. That's NFL teams don't give up 294 yards on the ground. Gus Edwards ran through him. Lamar Jackson ran through him. J.K. Dobbins ran through him. Mark Ingram ran through him. If you want to complain, you can complain about not having Dak, and all that's fine. That game's on the defense, just like the whole season.
It's just, and they're not a good football team. Like there was always a little bit of hope because the division leaders are 5-7. But the Cowboys aren't good. And you can talk yourself into, well, maybe they can do something now. They can go on a little bit of a run. They're just not a good football team. It's demoralizing when you give up 294 yards on the ground. Go back to the Thanksgiving game, fourth quarter, what Antonio Gibson did to them when you think, oh, here we go, close game, have a chance. No. The defense is bad. We've talked about it all season long. And there was a chance for them to maybe be in the game a little bit more had Greg Zuerlein hit a couple field goals. But still, when you give up yards rushing like that, even if you make it a one-possession game by making 2 more field goals, they weren't making plays. And they scored a touchdown late, but Baltimore was in control of that game at halftime, the entire second half, and more of the same for the Dallas Cowboys.
How about Zuerlein, by the way? I mean, that was kind of – where'd that come from? He doesn't miss a bunch of field goals. Even Tucker missed a field goal yesterday for Baltimore. First one in 70 tries inside of 40 yards. Enough. It's on. We're on to next year. We're on to 2021. I mean, really, that's what it is. We're on to 2021. This didn't work, and you better evaluate why it didn't work. And Troy Aikman was saying throughout the broadcast, "Look, you're watching progress from every other team in that division. You're watching the Giants get better. You're watching Washington get better. You're watching everybody else get better but you." I don't know how. We sit here and talk about level football, and they were losing, but we're saying, well, you're watching them get better. Well, they were coming from so far behind, right? They were coming from a place where they weren't competitive. So, yeah, they were getting better, and then they won a game. Different world when you get to the NFL. Are you watching this team weekend? Now, you could watch the Minnesota game and say, they got better. They beat a team that's in the NFC playoff. Okay, they did get better that week. I don't even for the life of me, I don't know how they stopped Dalvin Cook and that team that day. I don't. But what you're watching on a week in and week out basis is this is your defense. 17 points can be enough. And to your point, they missed field goals. Offensively, they played okay to win some football games. Some. Not most, but okay. But that's just bad. They're just like, to your point. Your point is dead on. They're just not good. And I don't know that the owner realizes that they're not good. And that's what concerns you if you're a Cowboy fan. Because if they don't realize, what's the first step in solving a problem? realizing you have a problem. Right? You can't solve something if you don't realize you have a problem. And I'm not sure that owner realizes that it needs to be fixed.
You know what concerns me here is that he keeps reminding the fans that this is how Jimmy Johnson's first year with the Cowboys was. So he's just expecting it to get better, but not doing anything to make it better.
He didn't have Jimmy Johnson there, first of all. He didn't have Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and a good defense. Now, he does have 3 good receivers, and CeeDee Lamb seems to be a guy. He should have Dak Prescott, and he does have Ezekiel Elliott. So is that his analogy? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's been his analogy is, Jimmy Johnson in his first year, it's really reminiscent of that. It's really reminiscent of that. It's going to get better. I'm like, well, I sure hope so.
JJ, was Jimmy Johnson in his first year, were they picked to win the NFC by just about everybody? Were they labeling themselves a contender, a Super Bowl contender that year? I don't think so. That might be before your time.
Well, there's also a reason Andy Dalton's not a starting quarterback anymore. Like, he should be fine in this offense, but we got to stop believing that this team has a chance, because they don't, because they're so bad defensively. It's like they've had their moments because it's professional sports. It's a week-to-week league. Yeah, you can go out there and beat the Vikings one week, but you've won 3 games. And would their season be any different with Dak Prescott? Possibly. They might be 5-7. But I don't look at this football team and go, man, Dak Prescott, they're sitting there running away with the division because of the way they play defensively.
What were they when Dak went out? A 2-win team? Right? Andy Dalton's won once, then they went to Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert. Andy Dalton didn't lose in that game last night. What did Andy Dalton do? He had a tipped interception? What did Andy Dalton do to lose in that game? He's not the one who got stoned at the goal line 3 times like Zeke did, and then he threw a touchdown pass. Yeah, Andy Dalton's a backup quarterback now. Okay, Andy Dalton could probably start in the Fitzpatrick role. Andy Dalton was a starting quarterback for, a decade in this league? Like, Andy Dalton's not the issue. They didn't lose last night because of Andy Dalton. They lost last night because they gave up almost 300 damn yards getting the ball run down their throat. That's why they lost the game last night. Lamar Jackson wasn't great. He threw for 108 yards, 112 yards? It's not like he went and killed it. He threw for 107 yards. And when a quarterback in the NFL, in an NFL game, give me another team where quarterback throws for 107 yards and they win, they double up the other guys. Is there one?
It's rare when it happens, but from week 1 to right now, it's always been about the Dallas defense.
Yep, and they're bad. All right, Cowboy fan, let's go. 505-246-0610. That's how you get in today. Just like any other day, it's really not that different. 505-246-0610. Emails will come in this morning. Jeff at 610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. On the Twitter, it's a good follow. JJ, it's at _JJ Buck. And on the Facebook, the OD in the AM. We've got football to talk about. We got another little women's game. You got the 18th of December on your calendar. How do you keep a calendar when you don't know when you're doing games, where against whom you're doing games, what time you might be doing a game? Like, how do you plan? It's a good thing you got a wife who's versatile and willing to roll with that too, huh? With a 1.5-year-old child, almost 2. Almost 2.
You're just
That's
ready.
Crazy.
You're just ready to call Omaha.
Omaha. Yeah. Check. Orale. Omaha. Let's say almost. You ready to have you ready for the terrible twos with an almost 2-year-old?
If it's January 31st, right around the corner.
Yeah. Not that you have a big choice in this whole matter. I mean, the child's going to be 2, whether you like it or not. But yeah, that's crazy. All right. Cowboy fan, let's go. We'll do this today. And by the way, was Jason Garrett the issue? I'm just saying, can we blame this on Jason Garrett? Because that was really easy to do over the last couple of years. It was Jason Garrett's fault, right? Is McCarthy the guy? Does he have to take some of this? The head football coach.
Yes, the head football coach does. So does who's ever selecting the players, because at this point in time, they're not good defensively. That's the easiest statement. You're not good defensively. That's where it starts. You're pretty good offensively. Like, whether you want to pay Dak Prescott or not, Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, you got enough there. It's what are you doing on the other side of the football where the guys you paid haven't worked out. So you got to start over.
Yeah, I think he does have to take part of the responsibility. He put the staff together. He helped put the players together, although that's on Jerry. Jerry will tell you, no, they're fine. They're fine. They'll come around. I mean, there's a lot of money on the defensive side of the football. I think one thing that's told you, to me, this made Dak more valuable. Well, I sit here and tell you Andy Dalton didn't lose the game. He didn't win games. The offense has been okay. Certainly not dynamic. Certainly not good. Certainly not good to the point where you're going to win anything. You're going to win a game, but you're not going to win anything with the offense looking like it is. I don't know if I think it's Andy Dalton's fault. I think Ezekiel Elliott, there's something going on. Ezekiel Elliott has not been one of the best running backs in the National Football League this year. He hasn't been. He's getting paid like one. But you would sit there and probably, with off the top of your head, give me a list of 10 guys who you're telling me are having a better year than Ezekiel Elliott, right?
You would. And just like we're talking about the defense, the offensive line isn't the unit of a few years ago where it was considered one of the best in the NFL. They're good at the skill positions. They're not good in the trenches. In the NFL, you have to be good in the trenches. You have to be really good offensive line or have a pretty good defensive line and offensive line to compete. And that's not the Dallas Cowboys. And the reason you just keep talking yourself into it is because of what the NFC East has been this season. You look up and go, oh, 5 wins. We're only 2 games back. Only 2 games back. No, you're never in it. The team is just never in it this season because they're not any good.
Never in it is right. All right, when we come back, we talk Mountain West Conference football. Lobos play Fresno State on Saturday in Las Vegas. The biggest name in the league, at least their head coach, seems to sure as heck want out of that league again. The emails don't lie. That's coming up. Is Boise State leaving the Mountain West? The opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
You've seen Rich Eisen on TV and heard him on...
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
As Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. 1st and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez starts.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell, look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man, touchdown, Wildcats. Not a defender inside. A little bit. Skowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon!
Feel that long ago when Boise State and San Diego State were going to the Big East. Remember that? Remember when the Big East was actually a league? And San Diego State and Boise State were going to play in something called the Big East. And then they came back as the Big East fell apart and kind of merged into the AAC, and Boise State got their sweet deal, and, well, here we are today. It's the opening drive, Jeff, JJ, Micah, Alden, and Josh. So Boise State has been vocal. They just feel, certainly, JJ, football-wise, that they're better than this league, right? Have felt that way. They've made it pretty clear that they feel that they're better than this league.
Yes, they have.
All right. So there were some emails that were uncovered by the media, by the public, what is it, the Public Information Act, up in Boise, where Brian Harsin, the head football coach, urged then athletic director, and Kurt Apsey has since stepped down for another role within the athletic department. He's in a more fundraising role. They've got an interim right now, which should probably make you a little nervous if you want Boise State to stay, because the athletic director is not a strong permanent figure there, and certainly the biggest figure, you've heard Leon Rice's comments lately, right? There's nobody to really kind of temper their coaches a little bit and bring this whole thing in, whether it's Leon Rice, Brian Harsin. I mean, you heard the whole Leon Rice thing last week when they couldn't play New Mexico. So there were emails when the Mountain West shut down initially. Remember when the Pac-12, the Mountain West, the Big Ten, and the MAC stopped football? And the other 5 leagues did go on, and basically Brian Harsin, and I'll read them to you, but was talking about this is time to leave. There were evidently emails 2 days prior between Kurt Apsey, the then athletic director, and commissioners of the West Coast Conference and the Big West to house their non-football sports. And it is of note that there is a familiarity between Boise State and the new commissioner of the West Coast Conference, Dan Butterly. I'm sorry, of the Big West, not the West Coast Conference, the Big West. Dan Butterly had been in the Mountain West office for a number of years, and he recently, in the last year, went over. Before we get into it, just your thoughts when you heard this, JJ, because this is nothing new. I don't know that Boise State can go independent in football. I guess they could. And you can have an argument that maybe they would be more successful than BYU going independent. I don't believe that, by the way. I haven't heard that the AAC is looking to come out to Idaho. Certainly the Pac-12, the Big 12 have not sent them any that I've heard, any invitations to come join.
Boise State football is good. It is not good by itself. Boise State has never bought into the Mountain West. Their fan base hates the Mountain West, and they are 100% behind Brian Harsin with these comments. If you look at the reaction to when this story came out yesterday, Boise State fans were over the moon. with agreeing with their head coach. So this is going to do great for his PR within that program and Boise State fans, because they believe that they are Notre Dame, like the second coming of Notre Dame, which is not true at all. If they go independent, they're going to be less successful than BYU has been, and this hasn't been like, this is the best year BYU has had, and it happened when they didn't have to play anybody. Yeah, they went undefeated, and then when they finally scheduled a team, what happened? They lost. So it's not going to work out the way they think it is. And I do think that there are some good points in there in terms of messaging. Like, what is the Mountain West's message? You know, how is it that people think the AAC is better? And why is it that UCF had the undefeated season and all of a sudden everyone fell in love with them, when it's like Boise State's done that before? Boise State's been a very successful Group of 5 program. So I can understand that, because I think that's something that we have talked about a lot. Is it just an East Coast thing? Is it a market thing? You know, how do you better position yourself just in the overall conversation? But I really don't know where Boise State thinks they're going that's going to be better, because as you said, the power conferences, which is the only step up. Because if you go to the AAC, okay, maybe you feel like you're in a better league, but you're still in the same place you are if you're winning the Mountain West.
So I think the perception that the AAC is better is because they've had multiple teams make runs. It was UCF that the undefeated year. You have Cincinnati this year. You've had Houston make a run. You've had Memphis make a run. So you've had 4 different teams make a run for that Group of 5 spot in the New Year's Six Bowls. Be in the top 10. San Diego State's tried, and then they always slip up somewhere, right? Fresno State had that 1 year. But I think that's the perception. I think top to bottom, the two teams are very similar, or the two leagues are very similar. I really do believe that. Boise State, to your point, you're right. They're fans, but let me just tell you this, and I know this for a fact. Their fans are not the only ones who think they're better than this league. Their fans think they should be in a power league. San Diego State's fans think they should be in a power league. Colorado State's fans think they should be in a Power 5 league. Fresno State's fans believe that. UNLV's fans think that. New Mexico's fans think that. Okay? Now, Boise State's got the Fiesta Bowl wins to go behind it and back that up. But San Diego State fans have been screaming this for I can't tell you how long. Colorado State fans, if you read what they say, they all think they're better than this league. They all do. And the bottom line is, this is probably where they all belong, right? It's not like anybody, and not even Boise State, has dominated this league. San Diego State's won some championships. Fresno State's won a championship. It's not like since they got here in 2011, they've won every year. Let me read you Brian Harson's part of his email, because this was after, again, the Mountain West went dark for a while. Remember, for football, we were talking about when are they going to play? Are they going to play? Is it going to be a spring league? And we're watching 5 leagues go forward: the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, the Sun Belt, and the American Conference, the American Athletic Conference, which they're kind of looking at. Quote, that leads into the conference conversation that we need to address again, and for as long as it takes to put that plan together to move. Now, in capital letters, is the time. The longer it takes, the longer we stay in the Mountain West, I'm 100% convinced we need to make this move for football, and if that means other sports too, in the long run, it'll be the best for the university. I understand there are risks in budgets and travel costs. That's all real to me. I also know that's exactly why Boise State is the program it is today, because we took risks necessary to grow our program. End quote. And the story says that Brian Harsin had sent 2 days before emails engaging in conversations with the commissioner of the Big West, again, which is Dan Butterly, and an unnamed conference, which really makes sense to be the West Coast Conference. The email continued, quote, let me put it like this. 2006 Fiesta Bowl, 2-point play. Put the ball behind our back and stand there like a statue and take the biggest risk in the most critical moment of the game, or run up the middle and stay conservative. I know which one I'd pick. I'm glad I did, because it changed everything. Capital letters, time for statue left part 2. Have a great weekend and bleed blue, end quote. So there's a lot of smoke here. You got football coaches pushing hard. You have Air Force's football coach last year, right, who said the Mountain West isn't a place for them. it's starting to feel like there's cracks in the league. Do you feel like there's starting to be cracks in the league? I mean, there's schools like New Mexico and Nevada, San Jose State, probably Utah State, Wyoming, who probably, I don't know that they've got a lot of options and can make a lot of noise and might have to sit here and try to hold this thing together.
Yeah, there is a lot of uncertainty. I think when you especially look at Air Force, and you've brought it up, Jeff, like really, where are you going that's better? Is this everyone all of a sudden want to join the AAC? Like, what is Air Force doing that's going to be better for them? They are bad in basketball. They have a really good football program. And even with a really good football program, it's not easy to sustain if you don't have a conference. Like, how many independents are doing good? Everyone looks at Notre Dame. All right, Liberty's having a season. And it's
but what does it mean?
Yeah, but it's like, all right, it's a season and you guys have built it, and now you think you're winning 10 games every year. Have fun with that. It's this mindset that if you're any good at football, the Mountain West is just no good. And I don't understand it. I get it from Boise's standpoint, just when you have a head coach and the fan base that even more so than the other fan bases think that they're better than this league. It's like Colorado State built a new stadium and like, oh, look at us. Pac-12, Big 12 will go win a football game, and then maybe conferences will consider you. But these schools fit this league, but it's really frustrating when the best school just constantly looks down at everyone else. And there's this sense, too, from Boise State, like no one else is trying to get better, which I don't understand at all.
So San Diego State is felt that way because they feel that they've excelled almost to that level in football. They certainly feel that they've excelled to that level in basketball. And they've got the major metropolitan, they've got a city. They feel that city, their program is a profile for power conference. I don't even know what that means, though, because you look at so many of the successful power conference teams. I mean, where's Norman, Oklahoma? Where's Tuscaloosa, Alabama, right? I mean, so I don't know that there is what does a power conference team look like, or power conference school look like. I think this is concerning. I just as I sit here and listen to the noise up again, knowing that there is not leadership right now, permanent leadership in the athletic director chair, and who will they hire? Is the person who comes in going to be someone who is going to kind of ride or listen to his football coach or her football coach and take that and run with it? Or is it somebody who's going to try to steady the ship on the course they're on? And to your point, if their fan base is overwhelmingly behind their football coach, and it feels like they are, then where does that steer? First of all, I don't know that they got anywhere to go. I don't know that the AAC, look, most of those schools in the AAC, now granted, they're different presidents, different athletics directors, have been down this road with Boise State, with the Big East, and got burned by Boise State and San Diego State when those two schools pulled out at the last minute, remember? So do they want, is the AAC got an appetite, to go down the road with them, and do they want to come out to Boise to play football every year? Maybe. I mean, they go as far west as what, Houston? Is that Houston, Dallas, SMU? Right? Is that part of what they want? I mean, footprints don't matter anymore. You get on a plane and you go in football. So I want your thoughts on that. But I think this is a conversation that you're probably going to hear a lot more about, especially in this region. And I want your thoughts on it at 505-246-0610. I want your thoughts about it. We're going to give you our thoughts. Fifth string true freshman walk-on is going to start a college football game for the Lobos this weekend. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
instead it's a gorgeous pass. Hill's gonna just shoot it.
He's gonna go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball line. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's gonna finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we can see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh!
Ho, ho, ho.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming.
Final game on the schedule for the Lobo football team is Saturday. You'll hear it over on News Radio KKOB. Late night game, JJ, 7:30 pregame, 8:30 kickoff, correct?
Yes.
Over on the News Radio KKOB. JJ will have the pregame show, and then the voice of the Lobos, Robert Portnoy. Who's his commentator this week? Is it Dontrell? Is it Preston? Is it you? Is it?
Not me.
All right.
But tune in to find out.
That's right. I think we know who the quarterback is, unless Tavaka comes back and plays. Well, if Tavaka is cleared by Thursday to practice, I imagine we could see him. But as of now, it's Isaiah Chavez, the fifth string, walk-on, not even redshirt freshman, true freshman from Rio Rancho High School, who last weekend. Right? I think it was the first weekend in December usually, was playing in the state championship game for Rio Rancho. That same weekend, this calendar year, he was in Las Vegas throwing a touchdown toss. It's hard for me to, I just saw Steve Virgin call it a strike. It's hard for me to call that a strike. It was a toss. But a touchdown pass that won a game. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it's been quite the run for that young man. Look, we'll see what he looks like with a week to prepare. I don't know how that's going to go. being the last game, it concerns me if they get beat. And I don't want to sit here and tell you they're going to get run out of the building. I think they're playing a pretty good team. We're probably playing for a bowl bid, potentially, right? With a fifth-string quarterback for the whole game. I mean, they could get beat, right? A quarterback who throws it over the top. Yeah, a quarterback.
I think what you're getting at, though, is if something bad happens, is everything else erased?
Is this the taste you take? Yeah.
Which, from a fan's perspective, it happened. You caught up in the moment. Kind of the last thing you saw is what you feel. But I think it's just about the conversation, knowing what this team went through the entire season. Like, there's a lot. And I thought Danny Gonzalez, he really did open up yesterday about the whole situation. He went into a few minutes talking about his wife and how he couldn't do this without his wife. He like other members of his staff, away from their entire family for what is going to be 6 weeks up to potentially 7 weeks, the virtual schools. And then he went on to praise all teachers, by the way. He said, yeah, if you didn't realize how important they are, you understand now. And then he started talking about
how important. What are teachers? Is that what you said?
Teachers, because he's talking about what their student athletes are doing. And then he's like, just imagine if you have young kids at home and you're going through this. So he kind of started to compartmentalize everything with the understanding that they're going to get to go home after this weekend. But it really did sum up how different this year is for the team. Now, he said ultimately he thinks it's the best thing that could have happened because they haven't had a positive test. They haven't had a game canceled due to a virus outbreak. And he thinks that could have potentially been something that helped more college football teams across the board. But ultimately what I'm getting at to at the end of all this, I think once people take a step back and look at the season, and then if you talk to them about how the quarterback position ended, his messaging, what they went through, I think even if it is a rough day on Saturday, which it could be, reality hits you in the face starting a fifth-string quarterback, ultimately the majority should still be on board.
So I agree with you. And first of all, on his messaging, in the sacrifice, look, I mean, all those people, I mean, your trainers have been there the whole time. The administrators, your equipment staff, all your players, all your coaches have been away for 7. It's been long. It was 6 weeks of football, but they were out there a couple weeks before. Well, I guess not, right? They went out after the canceled Colorado State game and got ready to play that first game. The bubble would have been, sure, this model, I think we knew that going in, and we saw that in the NBA and the NHL. The bubble's proven to be the most effective way, right? I mean, as far as there were no tests in the NBA bubble, there were no positive tests in the NHL bubble, there were no positive tests in the UNM bubble. Now, they somehow got one in New Mexico State's basketball bubble. But percentage-wise, I think obvious and proven that that's the most effective way as far as getting this done, but not everybody can do that. To your point on the if this thing goes south, I hope people don't. And I can already read the emails and I'll tell you, but what about, well, the fifth-string quarterback didn't play defense and they gave, all right. If you didn't see progress this season, you don't have eyes. I mean, it's just you didn't watch, right? I mean, is that a fair statement? If you didn't see progress this season, you didn't watch.
I agree that there has been progress this year.
I don't know how you can look at it and say there hasn't been. Offensively, their progress was stunted. They played without their starting quarterback for the last, 4.5? What did Tavaka play? Game and a half? 2.5?
Like a game and 3 quarters.
Yeah. And then you had Trey Hall. You played with a backup for 2.5 games. Then you played with your next guy for like a half of one game and a half of another game. And now you're in your fifth-string guy. If you're going to judge them now, I mean, then you're going to say, well, Jeff, what if they win? Well, I'm going to tell you they got incredible guts. I'm going to tell you that they're making strides just like I'm telling you now. If they lose, I'm going to tell you they made strides because I watch it, because I see it, because I see what happens. I don't think Isaiah Chavez is the quarterback of the future. He might be. He probably thinks so. His family probably thinks so. His friends probably think. I think Alden thinks so. Alden's a big fan, right? But take it. I mean, how many teams are going out there with a fifth-string quarterback and winning? I mean, honestly, beating anybody with a fifth-string quarterback. Anybody.
I don't know if there's been one this season.
So I think your point is right. Take the perspective of what you're going to watch. That's why I'm glad they won last week, right? I told you I don't do a lot of rooting. I don't do a lot of cheering. I don't pull that hard, for many. But I was pulling for this group to get a win because they've been dealing with what they've been dealing with and the sacrifices that the student athletes and the coaching staff and the support staff and the training staff has made to get a result, man. I'm really, really glad they got that. I don't know if they could beat Fresno State. I didn't think they could beat Wyoming, though. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you they cannot, because I sure as hell didn't think they were going to beat Wyoming. They were 18-point dogs. What's the spread this week? Is it about the same?
I think yesterday it was like 11.5. So it probably will start to tick up when people start getting the news that Isaiah Chavez took 90% of the first team reps yesterday. Tavaka, Trey Hall not cleared. I'm not expecting either of them to play, so you have to go on the assumption that it's Isaiah Chavez, and there's about maybe 10 plays Bryson Carroll can run if needed, and that's your Lobo offense in the regular season finale against Fresno State. And then in the Fresno State's a team, the mold that they've struggled the most with ultimately is spread you out, go over the top, up tempo, a lot of plays, a lot of pass attempts. There you go.
Yeah, no, that's your issue. It's them getting it over the top. This isn't a Wyoming team or an Air Force team that's just going to run all day. This is a team that's going to throw it out with their quarterback throw for 480 something last week, right? And so they're going to air it out. Lobos are, in fact, their spread is the smallest spread on Saturday in the Mountain West. There's a 2.5. San Jose State's a 2.5 point favorite against Nevada on Friday, but Boise State's 11.5 over Wyoming. Colorado State's 13.5 over Utah State, which, okay. San Diego State is a 16-point dog at BYU. And Hawaii is a 20-point favorite over UNLV. The Lobos are 11-point dogs. This is the smallest spread on Saturday. Okay?
Yeah, I don't want any part of Colorado State, Utah State in that game. For kind of the Jekyll and Hyde we've seen out of Utah State so far. And I am Team Aztec this weekend. I want more BYU tears. It was all, we didn't have enough time to prepare. If we had time for the Coastal Carolina game, we could have beat them.
They damn near did.
Cry me a river, BYU, because you would have told Coastal Carolina to shut up. The same thing happened, and you won that game. You know what? You stepped up. You played hard. You played a good team for the first time this year, and you lost. Just what happened in 2020. Your schedule was fraudulent. I know it's not your fault, but you got to eat it, suckers.
Yep, and they damn near did, right? They got down to, the 2-yard line, the 1-yard line on that last play. And by the way, they did play a good team. I hear a team that's way too good for the Mountain West. Boise State. But they played with their third-string quarterback. Third-string quarterback. And got blued out of the built, right?
That game's not even on my mind on their schedule.
But they played that game.
Yeah, what Boise State was.
But it's not all about a quarterback. It's right. It's about a whole team. And they beat them 43-6 or something. We're talking about a fifth-string quarterback.
Never a game.
No, but we're talking about fifth-string quarterback in New Mexico. Boise State
has a beef, by the way. Coastal Carolina has a legit beef. They beat 2 top 25 teams, don't go anywhere.
13th.
And the College Football Playoff Committee is trying to give themselves an out by thinking, Iowa State, we'll put you here, and then maybe we'll talk about a Big 12 champion.
I don't think Iowa State's going to get beat.
Nowhere near the College Football Playoff. Outside the top 10.
Totally agree. 5-0, we'll get into the college football playoff standings next because there's JJ obviously has a lot of feelings about the college football playoff championship, the CFP standings. That's next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal and ProView Networks.
Safeguard against germs this cold and flu season.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services. high school Letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Coming in soon, double pick set for Avalos, goes to the right, Avalos puts it up high, window, scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish. What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go, they've got a shot, they have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good! What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up Card. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Cowboys got beat last night 34-17 on Tuesday Night Football. Whatever, man. Again, I got same thing with last night with my mom. You're watching football again? Yes, Mom. Yes. You might like The View. No, Mom, I hate The View. I'm not watching The View. You might like it. It's good. No, it's not, Mom. It sucks. My daughter decided it should be my mother and her friends doing a show. You should see my 14-year-old tells it should be you, Carol and Joyce and Reginder and Terry and Sandy sitting around having coffee and chirping. And my mother's, because she started to like that. Do you think that'd be good? Addie just feeds her. Yeah, Mom, it'd be great. It'd be great. All the old ladies would watch. Be great. 505-246-0610. That's how to get in today. 888-922-0610. College football playoff rankings came out yesterday. Alabama 1, Notre Dame at 2. Clemson 3, Ohio State is 4. You got 2 SEC teams at 4 and 5, 5 and 6. That's Texas A&M and Florida. A 2-loss Iowa State team, which is JJ's contention, at 7, before you get to an undefeated Cincinnati leading the AAC at 8. Another 2-loss SEC team at 9 in Georgia. You've got 2-loss Oklahoma at 11, before you ever get down to undefeated Coastal Carolina, who is down at number 13. So you've got a real issue with this, huh?
Absolutely. There's less data points this year, but when it comes to the eye test, when it comes to who you have played, Iowa State should be nowhere near the top 4. That is definitely just positioning yourself to maybe give a Big 12 champion a chance at the college football playoff, because Iowa State, by the way, has lost to Louisiana.
Yeah.
Louisiana, who lost to who? Coastal Carolina, who was undefeated, who has beat BYU. So Coastal Carolina should actually be ahead of Cincinnati at this point in time and in the top 10 of the college football playoff. Coastal Carolina should have leapfrogged Cincinnati for the driver's seat for a Group of 5 New Year's 6 bowl game. And then they're hanging out. Florida hasn't beat anyone. They have you win over a 2-loss Georgia for some reason. People
beat A&M, didn't they? Didn't Florida beat A&M?
No, A&M beat Florida.
That's right. A&M beat Florida. No, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I knew that.
And so that is why A&M has been kind of holding on to number 5, because the committee is saying, well, we think Florida is the 6th best team, so you have a win over that team. We'll put you there at number 5. You got to rank teams. I get it. It's the college football top 25 playoff rankings. But I really think that Coastal Carolina got short end of the stick, and for some reason they're just trying to shoehorn in these Big 12 teams because they got to say, well, if it's a power conference, we got to maybe keep their champion in it. Nope, they're not any good. They don't deserve it this year.
So I agree with you on most of it. I don't know if I agree that I think Coastal should be above Cincinnati, but that's a conversation. First week of the football season, we all went, oh, my goodness, wow, did you see Iowa State? That was like, how could that happen game? That was Louisiana went to Ames and beat Iowa State. And not just squeak by them. That was 31-14. Now, look, Louisiana's a good Sun Belt team. They are. They're a good Sun Belt team. They're a good team. Who happens to play in the Sun Belt? Is that a better way to say it?
Still has Louisiana ahead. My apologies. Coastal Carolina has them in his Sun Belt Conference championship game.
Okay. I mean, it's a good team. Okay. But Louisiana beat Iowa State on the road in Ames. And somehow, and then Oklahoma State beat Iowa State. So they've lost 2 games, one in conference, but they've lost 2 games. The Louisiana loss, like if you're going to tell me BYU losing to Coastal knocks them completely down the rung, how can you have Iowa State? I agree with you on Iowa State. I absolutely agree with you on Iowa State. What's going to happen in the ACC championship game if Clemson beats Notre Dame? Are they both getting in with 1 loss? Notre Dame beat Clemson the first time without Trevor Lawrence. DJ Uiagalelei played well, and it was overtime. It was a really exciting game. So you're going to put both 2 ACC teams in. You got this Ohio State issue where they're not playing Michigan this week. So at 5-0, they may not get into the conference championship game. You could put a 5-win team in the playoff? A team that played five games all year. That's all they would play.
Get into their conference championship game.
They're gonna change those rules.
And is realizing that they're making up all these rules as they go. So why not?
And it's going to hurt them.
Because it doesn't make sense to say, well, Indiana, you got a chance to play more games, but the team that beats you just doesn't get in.
Okay, bottom line is it's going to hurt them. Because if they don't let them in, there's a chance that Ohio State won't get into the CFP. They could slip. Now, I don't see them slipping if they just sit there and don't play. They want to play. If you put them in the CFP, they're basically going to sit on the sideline for 2 months, right? They won't play all of December. They wouldn't have played for the last 3 weeks of November. It would be basically 2 months. Oh, look, there's Ohio State in the CFP. And they'll play Alabama in the first game. I would assume, or hell, Clemson, whatever. Wherever they end up. I got to believe they'll be well, who knows? The Ohio State piece is interesting. And then there's Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 8-0. Who did they beat? Well, I mean, the first win of the year against App State we thought was a good win, right? Was that not App State? They beat South Florida. They went through their league. They beat a good SMU team. They beat a decent Houston team. They beat Central Florida. And then they'll play in their championship game. You think your eye test tells you Coastal is better than Cincinnati?
I think Coastal Carolina has a better resume than Cincinnati. They did okay. So I got a little confused going through all the schedules. They have beat Louisiana. They will see them again in the conference championship game.
Right.
So I think a win over Louisiana, who beat Iowa State, has to matter more than just keeping Cincinnati there because all of a sudden Coastal Carolina's resume has changed. And they went out there and beat an undefeated BYU team.
They beat a power conference team, a bad one, Kansas, on the road to open the season. They beat BYU, who was undefeated. They beat Appalachian State. They run through the Sun Belt. They're good. They got Troy this week, and then they get Louisiana in the championship. I'd like to see this be the year one of these teams gets to sniff too. I would too. I don't need to see 2 ACC teams. I mean, can Notre Dame beat Clemson and knock them out again? I don't know if they can. But that would open the door for somebody. That would open the door for somebody if that happens. 505-246-0610. No? You're laughing at me.
Well, I think it's interesting. You don't need to see 2 ACC teams, but I think they're 2 deserving ACC teams.
If they both win, or if they both have one loss, or I want to have that conversation. I want you to tell me why when we come back on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
In the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jude Tapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. 2-hand hammer. Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak ahead of the pack. Jimmy Lovato up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by
ACC teams in the top 4 of the college football playoff. You've got an Alabama, and Ohio State, and a Clemson, like always, and Notre Dame, like sometimes. Not a lot different at the top of the college football playoff rankings. And if in the ACC championship game, the first time that Notre Dame will play in a conference championship game, because it's the first time they've been in a conference as a temporary member because of COVID, then if Clemson beats Notre Dame, I think common thought is they both, Clemson and Notre Dame, would get in with one loss, having beat each other up. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Mike is produced on the radio side, and Josh and Alden on ProView Networks, where you can watch the show on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. So, JJ, I get that the ACC is better this year. I get that North Carolina is a good team, and Miami is a good team. I don't know that I think the rest of that league is good. Clemson did not play North Carolina. They played Miami. And Notre Dame did not play Miami, but they played North Carolina. Florida State hasn't been good. Syracuse is horrible. Georgia Tech is horrible. Virginia is not good. Boston College should have beat Clemson. Like, Boston College had Clemson beat, if you remember that game. That was the Tessitore fake field goal game, or the whole thing. They had them beat, but they didn't beat them. I just don't like they got each other. They each played one other good team, Miami, North Carolina. I'm not sure that I think that makes them better, a one-loss ACC team, more deserving than an undefeated Coastal, an undefeated Cincinnati. Heck, we're not even talking about the Pac-12 in this scenario. What if SC runs the table?
Then they, will be 4-0, 5-0? How many games are they going to play?
Exactly. Well, I mean, how many's Ohio State playing?
The Ohio State situation, right? It's right now there is a belief that Ohio State is one of the top 4 teams. I will tell you, Notre Dame has done exactly what Clemson has done the last couple of years. Beat up on the ACC, and we love Clemson. So why not give the same credit to Notre Dame, who in this scenario has been the team that has impressed me the most.
That's not right. We love Clemson because they go undefeated every year, and every year we say, well, if they slip, though, they're going to be the ones that fall out because they've only played the ACC. Go back to last year when there was a conversation about whoever was 5. I remember when Baylor was swimming around there, and would they get in? If there was going to be a one-loss team out, it was going to be Clemson, because we've had this conversation over the last couple of years because of the ACC. They're in because they go through undefeated in the ACC.
And this year, I look at those teams, and I believe Notre Dame is one of the best teams in the country.
That's fair.
That game had nothing to do with Trevor Lawrence. It was about there was nothing left defensively for Clemson. And I think if you run it back, they're absolutely deserving, if they happen to lose to Clemson, to still be in that position over any 2-loss Big 12 or 2-loss.
Absolutely agree with that.
Point in time. And I think that's what's different, is there's not a team on the outside looking in that has a bigger case than one of those teams right now.
Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati. I agree with you. There's not a one-loss conference champion that's sitting there.
They're never going to get a shot at the playoffs. Never.
I'm still going to make a case for them, and I'll still tell you that you can make a case for them. You're saying there's not a team to make a case for. Well, there is. If Coastal runs the table, or if Cincinnati runs the table, then there is a case to be made for them as a conference champion. And you could look at their schedules and say, all right, who'd you play? Really? Well, who'd you play? Let's just say we're having a conversation. If Clemson wins, they're in because they're the ACC champions and they're a one-loss team, right? So the conversation would be about Notre Dame. Is that correct? That would be who would be sitting at 4 most likely. And you say who they beat. Well, they beat Duke. All right. USF, well, that's Cincinnati beat them too. They beat Florida State. They beat Louisville 12-7. They beat Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech. The big win's Clemson. They beat Boston College, good win against Carolina, Syracuse. So they would have, to me, what was that, 2 good wins? The Clemson win and the Carolina win? What's so much more impressive than what Coastal did? Or
it's not. It's dealing in reality. The playoff committee is never going to consider a group.
I'm
of
not
5
dealing in reality. I'm dealing it in practicality.
There's nothing practical about it. They put a group of 5 spot in the New Year's 6 bowl game, so they know they're never going to put one of these teams on college football playoff.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I'm having the conversation because
I want to believe you.
Yeah.
Like I want to go down this path.
No, and I think you're right.
The college football playoff committee is never going to consider that.
Yeah. Who'd you tell me, Micah?
Rudy.
Rudy, let's go. Rudy, you're on the Quantz Auto Care hotline. Hello, Rudy.
Hello. Boise State really makes me laugh. Do they have a medical school? No. Do they have a law school? No. They're a joke school that has turned into a football program. And if they really think that the Big Ten or the Pac-12 Tier 1 research institutions are going to allow them in, they're like the Beverly Hillbillies. You know,
the American might.
He's so full of himself that he thinks that he can tell the president what to do. And
well, he kind of can.
I hope they leave. And I hope they go plant themselves as an independent because it hasn't worked out for BYU.
Well, all right. So a couple things, because you're dead on the university thing, and that's why I don't think that now the Pac-12 may have changed, but forever the Pac-12 has been about being a land grant research institution of higher education. I mean, you look at the schools, UCLA and Cal and Stanford and USC and Oregon. I mean, right? These are major universities, which Boise State is not. I mean, they were, God bless them, they've grown from a junior college to what they are. So that's why I don't think they ever get into the Pac-12. As long as the Pac-12 holds on to those standards, the Pac-12 is not an issue. The American might be an issue, although you start looking around, and those are pretty good universities in the American as well. I don't think they make it as an independent either. I don't think they've got what going for them, anything close to what BYU has going for them. A worldwide following, their own television network. They got nothing. They're a nice school on blue turf in Idaho.
Exactly, and I don't know where they get so full of themselves. They don't even have a baseball team. They can't even start a baseball program.
Oh, they tried.
And so when I hear Harsin say that, I mean, talk about confirmation bias. And I just don't see Boise State being the powerhouse university that they think they are. Go to their website, and they don't even talk about their educational programs. What they're selling is it's a nice place by the river, and you can come and hang out with your friends and cheer at the football game. Well, that's a great reason to go to school, but it's not the only reason. And you're not going to cheer by the river the rest of your life. You're going to have a job. And they just don't have the academic goods that you need to move up. There's a lot of things that go into, making that step. You have to be a Tier 1 research institution, or the Big Ten won't even look at you. That's really the only reason Rutgers got in, and they were the first ones to play football. But you really have to look carefully at what your school brings to the table, and Boise is extremely lucky to be in the Mountain West, to call their own shots, to rave on about money and how they make the conference. And I guess you can go back and relive a play one time the rest of your life. The Statue of Liberty was a nice play, but that doesn't define what I think I want in a school. 10 years. How many years ago was that Fiesta Bowl win?
Gosh, it's got to be 15. No, yeah, it's got to be close to 13, 14 years ago. Now, what year was it, Alden?
Yeah. 2006 or something
2007. 2007 New Year's Day-ish.
That's ancient history in college football. And by the way, I'm sad that Michigan doesn't get to play Ohio State. I'd like to take on that challenge, but when your COVID cases are rising and they can't, I don't think there's any wiggle room for the Big Ten. And Ohio State blaming Michigan, Ohio State had their own COVID issues that caused them cancellations of games. Otherwise, they'd have the 6 games, right?
Did they have the COVID issues? I think they did. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, they did. They canceled at least 2 games, so that they don't get to 6. So if the Big Ten wants to meet and grant an exemption to Ohio State so they have a representative in the college football playoff, I don't have a problem with that. But to try to force Michigan to play Ohio State when they have COVID issues isn't going to work, and it's not going to happen.
All right. Oh, that's good. Thanks, man.
Okay, have a good one, man. Take care.
Rudy called it 2460610. I don't disagree with his take on Boise State, JJ.
I don't either. I think this is one where when you get caught up in football, yeah, Boise State feels like they could be out there running the world apparently if they weren't stuck in the Mountain West. But I think BYU is a great case study because all of a sudden all those fans are buddy after this, and BYU's like, yeah, let's join up and go somewhere. Where are you going, BYU? You didn't want to be in a conference. You haven't been invited to a power conference. And then to your point, Boise State does not have the same following. Like, I get if you want to be better. I get if you want more. But what is more? What is better? Is really all of a sudden you're going to go to the AAC and you're going to feel like...
And what?
And it's going to be different than if you go undefeated and win the Mountain West. How?
Yeah, and what? And then their basketball team's going to play in the Big West? And they're going to play... I mean, how is Leon Rice going to feel about going to Cal State Northridge? Cal State Fullerton? And Sacramento State? And Cal Poly? Good. I mean... Cal Poly's beautiful, man. Long Beach State. Yeah, let's go chill on the beach for a while, bro. But, I mean, is that doing you favors? I mean, but it's not about basketball, it's about football. Ralph's in San Diego, North County, says, with the new research facilities, SDSU is a better fit for the Pac-12. Yeah, look, San Diego State is growing itself into, as far as educationally now, an institution that the Pac-12 would look up at. But for years, for decades, UCLA and USC said, no, we want to own Southern California. And the Pac-12 said, that's just a little state school down there. It's not anymore. They've grown into a major research institution. But Boise State just does not fit that profile. 505-246-0610. We'll get back into the phones. I know you got a lot of thoughts on this. You can get in on Cowboys last night, 34-17. They get beat by the Ravens. Lobo football starting a fifth string walk-on true freshman quarterback in their final game of the season. We can have any of that at 246-0610. It's holiday season. You're going to have gifts on the porch, boxes. Porch Pirates are looking. People are watching your home. People are watching your business. Bottom line, how about the good guys watch your business? That's IPS, International Protective Service. I suggest you call Aaron and his guys and have them watch what's important to you. I've had IPS secure my home for a long time. When you're out of town, they will come by and make sure every day, do an exterior check, pick up the newspaper, pick up the mail, roll your trash cans to the curb and back. Just give your home that lived-in look. And if your alarm does go off, they respond within 5 to 7 minutes with a trained, armed security guard. A lot of times they just catch the bad guys right there and detain them until APD gets there. IPS is been spectacular for me. You see their cars all around town. That means someone on your street refuses to be a victim of property crime. Don't wait until something bad happens. Call IPS and secure what's valuable to you. 505-897-2420. That's 505-897-2420. Or go to ipsglobal.com.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
They got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
The outside, I'm running an out route.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown.
So Davison back to toss it. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he could spin that
Touchdown.
football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Fork driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good.
Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
and Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalon's gonna go and he puts it away. And Corbalon wants to put it down. But here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition. It's 3-on-2. Gershon gonna go all the way. Whoa, Morgan will.
It's going to be a really interesting conversation. I think it's going to go for a while. I mean, now that it's out that Brian Harsin, the head football coach at Boise State, has made it clear again that Boise State wants out. I wonder, does anybody else chime in? Does Troy Calhoun get vocal about this again? Because does the AAC listen if Air Force and Boise State want to go? Then does that create a different look to them? Navy's in that league. And I told you, I think Air Force, this is the right spot for Air Force. Air Force has 20-something athletic programs. Not all of them, obviously. Their hockey team doesn't play in the Mountain West. But geographically, it's the right fit for them. But I don't think the AAC is listening to just taking Boise State. But would they be interested if Brian Harsin called Troy Calhoun and said, hey, dude, you were singing this last year. I'm singing it now. Let's go. We'll strengthen numbers. Let's put this thing together. Then do you have concern for the Mountain West? And then are you looking at what's going on over there?
I think there is some concern, and to the point of what you brought up is they don't have an AD right now. And so what could be looked at as the at least loudest voice, not sure about where it is in the power scale, but Brian Harsin, pushing football forward in that room right now, the uncertainty. And then if you do bring in an AD, and is one of the big talking points, hey, if we hire you for this job, can you get us somewhere else? Are you going to have that to deal with moving forward? And then bringing in the Air Force conversation. Right now, the AAC is at 11 teams. So they're running with an odd number of teams. Add 2 more, 13. Why the heck not? And is Boise State Air Force good enough for that league to want to take on 2 more teams? And then what do we always talk about? How big is a slice of your pie?
Right. And they're in an odd number of teams because Connecticut went independent in football because their rest of their teams joined the Big East, and so that left that void. Edward, good morning. Thanks for holding. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, Edward.
Good to hear your guys' voices today. So I heard the passion and frustration in Rudy's voice, which, it's a good call, and I appreciate when he calls in and shares his sentiments. I've been talking about this for a while, for several years now, and I think it took a global world pandemic that might facilitate and expedite this process. But I think the major 5 conferences are going to secede from the NCAA sooner than we think, and that'll facilitate more and more changes, and teams like Boise State fight or flight, right? And they'll do what they need to do to survive and position themselves accordingly for financial gain. And we're going to see the apple cart get upset even more than we did a few years back when everybody was bailing on conferences and trying to get alignment. I truly believe that we have hit a precipice and an inflection point where things are going to change drastically, significantly. To cancel the Ohio State-Michigan game for the first time since World War I is significant, right? On top of other major significant events. So I just find it interesting. One thing I'm rooting for, my brother-in-law played for the Cincinnati Bearcats with Urban Meyer. And I will share stories. He wasn't a real close friend of Urban Meyer, but they were good, pretty good friends. And he said he was brilliant. He could tell he was brilliant. Urban was a defensive back. My brother-in-law was an offensive guard. I am rooting hard for Brian Kelly to do his previous coaching position, the Cincinnati Bearcats, a huge favor, and knock off Clemson a second time and knock them out. Will it happen? Maybe not, but I'm with JJ. That game, that win earlier, wasn't just about Trevor Lawrence being out.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so what I'm rooting hard for, and for my brother-in-law, because it'll make his decade, is if they can squeak in and get into the Final Four. So I hope it happens, and this might be the year that it does. So hopefully Cincinnati doesn't blow it, this weekend if they play. The last topic I want to discuss is what I watched last night on national television was an embarrassment. And people think that people call in and just hate on the Cowboys. This isn't hatred. When you're not emotionally attached to something, you can remove emotion from the decision-making process and look objectively at what you're seeing. For them to be that lost defensively, for their Leighton Van Der Esch, or whatever his name is, LVE, to be that completely and holistically lost on the field, not just on a few plays, but pretty much all night, you have to break this down and be realistic. And Jeff, you said it. The first step of solving a problem is acknowledging that you have a problem. Let me say this. The last decade or so, there's a staple which I believe has been the driving force behind the Cowboys' success offensively. And it's not their quarterbacks, because that variable changed. It's not their running back. It's not their receivers. There's 3 individuals that were, in my opinion, wholeheartedly accountable and responsible for that. 1 is Travis Frederick, 2 is Tyron Smith, and 3 is Zach Martin. There was 3, and 2 of those guys are for sure Hall of Famers, and all 3 of them may be Hall of Famers. Those guys drove the success of that franchise. I spoke yesterday about DeMarcus Ware. He hasn't played for the Cowboys since 2014 or so, 7 or 8 years ago. That's the last great defensive player they've had, impact player. you talk about their dynamic quarterback, Dak Prescott, and had a stellar first year. There's a 52-game sample of his last 3 years, and I know you can't just select data and omit data, but a 52-game sample where he's 28 and 24, and it's not all incumbent on the quarterback. There's various factors. I listened to Colin Cowherd yesterday, and he was so pointed, and he said, the Cowboys are in danger of becoming very insignificant for a long period of time, given their current contract situation, given that teams in their division are rapidly improving, and given that they don't want to change. They don't want to evolve. And they're going to hover around mediocrity like they did about a decade ago and become insignificant. Again, we'll probably get calls and responses saying, well, you're just a hater. I'm not being a hater. I just think what I see objectively, they are nowhere near becoming a competitor. And you could change that. What Cowherd was advocating was lose out and get a top 3 pick and either take a franchise quarterback or trade the pick out and gain more assets and move down in the draft and try to move off some of these insanely bad contracts that they've signed based on emotional decision-making by their owner. If that doesn't happen in some capacity, I think that we're going to continue to see a downward degradation of this franchise, and they're going to dribble off into the abyss and be insignificant or irrelevant in many capacities. That's just my prediction. I could be entirely wrong, but it's just fascinating to see this play out because it's right in front of our eyes, and because they're so insanely popular and have a great fan base, there's an irrational exuberance and an irrational expectation with this organization. And even the Tony Romo conversation, right? The 10-year career, he's insanely popular, and he's probably going to be a Hall of Fame announcer, not a Hall of Fame quarterback. In his 10-year career, they made the playoff 4 times, and he didn't have a stellar career. But the narrative is, well, he was a great player. Well, maybe he was just a really good player that benefited from, a popular fan base, and that's what we're seeing. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you and maybe open up thought and conversation, but I appreciate what you guys do, and I hope you have a delightful day.
Yeah, look, they're at risk, and I don't. The only reason they are basically irrelevant. The reason they're relevant is because they're so popular as far as their fan base.
So they can never be irrelevant. It's the hater aspect of it is real. Edward might not come at that way, but when you've been deemed America's team and you haven't done anything for how long, they are always going to be in that position to be prime time, to have the back and forth, to elicit responses regardless of their record. So in terms of win-loss, that could be true because it has been. They're a 500 team, well below 500 team right now, but they're not going to fade into irrelevancy just because they're too big of a brand.
But they're faded into absolute mediocrity over the last 2 decades. And now, I think mediocre would be success. Mediocre would be an upgrade. Mediocre would be a hell of a place from where they are now because they're 3-9. And I mean, no matter how you slice it, and you can tell me that their quarterback's out, and you can tell me all the reasons, man. Everybody's got injuries. Everybody's got stuff. Bottom line is they've got arguably the worst defense in the National Football League. Fair?
You like you said, that's what happened to them last night is like a college football game where someone runs for 300 yards on you. You don't see that happen in the NFL.
Yeah. All right, we'll continue the conversation. Want your thoughts, Cowboys, and on Boise State, because now there's chatter that's turned into talk. What?
Who has the more irrational expectations, the Dallas Cowboys or Boise State Broncos?
Who thinks more of themselves than they really are? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Merrill.
Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbaiosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. David Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes a...
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop through.
Maybe the gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a...
Hill, little step, high window. Got the second.
The middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo.
Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State are your top 4 in the college football playoff. Should they be? What about Cincinnati, Coastal Carolina? What do you think about their chances? If Notre Dame loses to Clemson, should they both, Clemson and Notre Dame, get in? And your thoughts on Boise State's coach Brian Harsin say we have to get out of the Mountain West now. We are better than this. Are they? Where are they going? I know a lot of you want to see them go independent and fall on their faces. Right? I mean, a lot of people do. I know their fan base thinks they run this league, that this league would be nothing without them. This league was fine before them. This league will be fine after them. And the league is fine with them. There was a Mountain West before Boise State, wasn't there?
There was, but it was also a Mountain West that had
TCU, Utah,
yeah, that, and BYU. And we've seen all these programs go on to bigger things, but I also don't necessarily see that same kind of financial support behind Boise, the backing, say, like a Utah or TCU had to move up in the world. And there's a reason that all these other schools are on the outside looking in right now, because they just weren't good enough, even with the track record, to get absorbed by a power conference team. I want to see Boise State stay in the Mountain West. I do think it's a good rivalry. I do think it's good that you have a school that, even if they think they're better than everyone else, you know what? When you play that game, your fans get invested. You know, they want to see you beat that team, especially when it comes to football and in the Mountain Division. Looking up at Boise State and saying, all right, that's the hill you have to climb the majority of the time to get a chance to play in the Mountain West title game. I think ultimately it'll work itself out because, look, I believe the Mountain West has taken a step forward. This new TV deal is pretty much double what they had before. Like, that is a step forward for the conference overall. And when you look at that, if you're Leon Rice, who even with his frustration, does he think that he's just going to immediately go to one of these other leagues and become the New Mexico State of said league? Like, you do have to ask those questions. Like, are you still getting the same level of player? Will you still be able to do what you have done by just going to the Big West Conference? And that's something that you have to ask yourself, because Brian Harson's out there going, we're going to the national championship, and everyone else is kind of like, cool story, bro, but what about us?
Yeah, you're not. Lance, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care hotline. Hello, Lance.
Good morning. I'm trying to call to cheer up the program today.
Does it need cheering up?
Even you sound a little angry myself. But hey, JJ, Colorado's number 22. And Edward gave me my morning wake-up call at 6:30. There is nothing better than to hear his voice, because he's just worried I'm going to die each day, So my family don't even kill me or call me, or, they want to kill me. But, the Women's Steel Timber Sports Championship I'm watching. And it's awesome. Imagine, it's the American dream. Sitting by the pond, having a gorgeous women. 3/4 of them are gorgeous. They're so nice. And just chopping wood like crazy. And at the trophies, I thought they were going to give the 3 of them trophies. And they gave him 3 huge mugs of beer. So that's what they got for it, And, hey, a lot of times you've asked me, like when I've come on, what's up? And I say blood pressure. You remember it, right?
Yep.
Then Stigler stole my line. A guy called me, after Edward this morning and said, some dude stole your line. That's my line. Get your own material, Stigler, for your commercial.
Pretty sure it's a classic
Seriously,
joke.
man. I'm the only one that
Take it this way, man. When people mimic you, it's the highest form of flattery, right? Take it that way. Let me cheer you up.
I didn't think of it like that. Only you could make me see perspective.
That's right.
I've talked to you for so many years that I listen to what you say.
That's
so
right.
Thank you.
Take it as flattery. Yeah, take it as flattery.
Why no sexy Mrs. Claus? Why, as a kid I had to sit on some old drunk's lap when we could have had a really, hot young Mrs. Claus that sat on my lap.
What'd you do to him? You done with him?
I dropped it.
All right. Alden's thinking there, yeah, why not a Mrs. Claus? Look at Josh and Alden are going, hey, wait a minute. Why? I mean, he's got a point.
He's on to something.
He's got a point there. Why not a Mrs. Claus? I probably wouldn't be in the mall for your kids, though. It might be in a different establishment. And maybe there is a Mrs. Claus for you to harass. How does that go well? What's the liability on that job? Huh? What's the liability? Oh, let's have a sexy Mrs. Claus. You know what I want for Christmas, Mrs. Claus?
Like, wait a second. All these photos, there's dads in all these photos. Where's the kids?
Yeah, I'm keeping my job. I'm not going on this one. I'm just not. 505-246-0610 or 888-922-0610. I got a bunch of emails we're going to get through at jeff@610knml.com, jj@610knml.com. You see the picture of the surf I sent you guys? Ralph's, he's listening in San Diego, said, because there's a storm, down off of the Baja.
Oh,
and which is, yeah, it's growing the swells. Did you see that? So that's what the surf looks like down off of North County.
San Diego, bro. You go once and it just pulls you back.
That's what it looks like up in North County today. Hey, holidays are here, fellas. You're going to take care of everybody that's on your list. Everybody, you're taking care of. What about you? Don't forget to take care of yourself. Guys, you can't take care of anybody else unless you take care of you first. If you're not feeling right, if you're dealing with fatigue, low T, erectile dysfunction, call NewMail, take care of it. In a year when everything seemingly is out of your control, this is something that is absolutely within your control. NewMail's right here in Albuquerque, can help you deal with ED, depression, even hair loss. You just have to make the call. 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit them at NewMail, NUMALE.com. You know it's not going to take care of itself. You know it's not going to just ignore away. You can't do that. Truth is, nothing to be ashamed of. Men hit a certain age and these things are normal. The beauty of NewMail is you can battle normal. You can feel better. NewMail. 505-652-1688. Enjoy the holiday season and give yourself the gift of feeling great. Make the call. New Mail, 505-652-1688, or visit newmail.com and feel better.
It's your
played over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Nick Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did!
Oh my God! Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And
Spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Step it up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out. A foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Would that be enticing for the American? First of all, would BYU be into that? And I don't know that they would, but I don't know that they wouldn't. To start a Western division of the American, to go to 14 teams, if Air Force, BYU, and Boise State said, hey, we want to go over and do that, would that be, I mean, would that be a conversation continuer?
Yes. I think BYU is the wild card in that situation where you'd say, 3 teams, we're at 11, go to 14, have 2 divisions. Here we go.
So in your West Division, you have 7 teams in the division. It would be those 3 teams with Houston, SMU, Tulsa, and Memphis in the West. I mean, he asked a question. I'm just throwing stuff out there. 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, and Micah. Paul, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Paul.
Hey, good morning, guys. I know we're supposed to talk about sports, but I just wanted to take a quick second. I've been in this community for about a year now, and I work as a marketing director for a physical therapy company, and the support that these local businesses have been, the love they've been showing to us, as far as, there's tons of medical reps out here. And one thing I've learned that I am going to do whatever I can to support these local businesses. Yep. There's so many places that are struggling. And so it's like right now I have, 4 boxes full of sweetbread for my favorite panaderia, and it just, I just want to get the word out as much as possible, just how important it is for us as a community to support these people, and I don't know if we can give any plugs. There's a couple places that I love here in town, and these guys are struggling. So whatever we could do to rally up the troops and help these people out, that it would make a world of a difference.
I think that's right, Paul. No, it's a good call. And if you can buy local, support local, as you're doing gifts, whatever it is you're doing, if you're eating out, because all over our community and everybody, there's these small businesses who have done so much for our community that need your help just to stay alive. So, Paul, I think the message is great, and I hope we hear it more.
Yeah. Well, you guys take care and enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm going to slam this burrito down right now as I'm driving. So you guys have a great day, all right?
See you, man. See you. I do that often, by the way. But, yeah, there's so many, JJ. There's so many. All right, let me start getting through some of these emails because there's some good conversation in here. Todd says, boy, you know what, Jeffy? Yesterday when Dr. Scrace said January could be the darkest month ever for New Mexico. Didn't he say a few weeks ago December was going to be the darkest? It sure didn't sound like high school doors are swinging open February 1st and they're going to roll out the balls. More importantly, he was already dropping hints that summer vacations in 2021 are not going to be allowed. He was saying the end of summer yesterday. I think, well, I think there's a lot of false hope just because the vaccine is close and everybody thinks, all right, we're all going to get it and we're going to be open by February. It's probably not how this is going to roll. It's probably not how this is going to happen. Rod says, I guess Jason Garrett wasn't the only problem in Big D, or in this case, no D, Jefferson. Yeah. I mean, you should just call him Alice because there's no D in Dallas. The Alice Cowboys. Just saying. Can we just call them Alice from now on?
That works.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what they are. All right, Gus says, nervous fans of Albuquerque's baseball team, ? Jeff, we're 3 months away from when you and JJ would be calling the baseball teams friendly with the Rockies. Are you hearing anything to indicate that's going to happen or that there's even going to be a season? I think PCL is going to play. I'm just not confident there'll be games within the border of red and green. We had this conversation yesterday. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago, JJ? Baseball, minor league baseball, all of it is up in the air. If there's a baseball season this year, I believe there's going to be minor league baseball. I just can't tell you I believe there's going to be minor league baseball in Albuquerque. I hope so. But what makes you think anything that April, so we're 4 months away, right? 3.5, 4 months. Isotopes Park open. We're sitting there, having a hot dog and a beer, watching baseball. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
All I can do is hope. I don't have an answer for that.
No.
2 minutes.
Yeah, baseball is an interesting one too because minor league baseball and major league baseball still haven't come to any sort of an agreement on what it's going to look like. I told you the story the other day about the Fresno team, and would they be demoted to the California League? Is that going to happen? I'm going to guess, JJ, baseball played non-bubble until the playoffs. They got the majority of they got their little 60-game season in. I'm going to guess they're planning on going full board. If they were able to pull that off towards the end of last year, what makes you think they're not going to try to go and open this thing in April? Bubble down in spring training in Arizona and Florida in mid-February. Basketball's going, right? The NBA starts next week, don't they?
Yeah, you get preseason NBA basketball this Friday.
Week. Yeah. The NBA's going. So I don't know why you wouldn't think that the NHL just announced that, what I see, January 13th-ish is when they're going to get started.
Oh,
play 56
they're
games.
Going to play baseball.
Yeah.
The question is, where can you play minor league baseball?
Mm-hmm. Because minor league baseball, as you said the other day,
issues because Major League Baseball took over minor league baseball, so there's 120 teams and they're still trying to finalize what all these clubs are doing. As
you said the other day, it's just so reliant on game day revenue, more so than Major League because there's no television money. By the way, how long do you think Major League Baseball can continue without game day revenue? And they just did one season. They got a whole nother season in them. Is the NBA? I mean, have you seen the salaries that are being pitched around? James Harden's making 48 million? What did we decide yesterday? 42 million? It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots. He scores.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots. He scores. Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side foot. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. goes. Can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Galeon stripped him. Compiling the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku! Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one home.
IPS outside the house right now, just so you know. It's the opening drive. What's up? Cowboys got beat last night. Baltimore 34, Alice 17. There's no more D in Dallas. They don't get the D back until they can, I don't know, not give up almost 300 yards rushing on a Tuesday night. The Alice Cowboys, 294 yards rushing by the Baltimore Ravens.
I got a better one for you. The Dallas Owl Boys.
Owl Boys. The Alice Owl Boys. Yeah, they don't get the C. Yeah, whatever you like. Cowboy fan, how you feeling? You got a problem. You better realize you got a problem and figure out how to fix it, because it's not just going forward like you're going. They're done. There's no more, well, they're only a couple games back, and stop it. They're 3-9. In fact, boys and girls, you can please stop talking to me about playoffs and realize, and look, here maybe in 3 weeks we're going to say, oh, look, the Cowboys, if they win on the last week of the season, are in the playoffs. Do you realize the Dallas Cowboys have the worst record in the NFC? I mean, you want to talk to me about playoffs, and in fact, they have the worst record in the NFC.
Hoser on the line.
They are tied with the Chargers for the fourth worst record in the National Football League. I'm just giving you facts, man. That's why they don't get the D. Because they have no D.
To borrow a line from the greatest movie franchise in history, you almost had the NFC East? You almost had the NFC East? You never had a team. You never had a chance in the NFC East.
That's good. That's good. See what he did there? That's good. See? Got a little accent going. That's good. That's good. Hoser's got accents too. Maybe he'll do his Jerry Jones for you. Hello, Hoser. Your team stinks.
No Jerry Jones this morning. No, at first I was going to say you can't call them Alice, because most Texas high school football teams, they have probably pretty good records. But I just looked up Alice, and this year, unfortunately, they are also 3-5. 2-3 in districts, so I guess go ahead, call them the Alice, football team.
The Alice Cowboys? Yeah. They're Alice. There's no D.
There is no D in Alice, and there's apparently no W either. No W's. W's are hard to come by these days. But yeah, that was just unfortunate last night.
Unfortunate, man. Unfortunate. Yeah, unfortunate. I rolled out of my driveway and a car hit me. That was unfortunate.
Yes, that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I stubbed my toe on the bed frame.
It's unfortunate. This is just bad. This is. We're not very good, and it's unfortunate that guy's putting our roster together. Okay, yeah, I get you.
Well, I don't know what else to, how to spin this in a positive way. Maybe.
No, there is none.
There is no.
Me neither, Hoser. Me neither.
At least not for this year, anyways.
You might get the fourth pick in the draft.
And who might that be? Is that somebody on defense, you think?
It better be.
Probably draft an offensive guy.
Yeah, maybe you'll get another receiver.
I think that's who you need to draft back.
Maybe they'll draft another receiver.
Line them up 4 wide.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Rod Marinelli seemed to get a lot of those guys last year. So I don't know if it's the coaching or what. Maybe just the change of scheme. Yeah, because there was one time last night, I think Vanderidge was just like, when Lamar scored that touchdown, he was like looking all the way to the right, and Lamar's going there by his left, and I was like, whoa, dude.
Bring back Jason Garrett.
He actually felt the wind go by him, and I was like, man, turn around, my man.
Meanwhile, Jason Garrett won a game this week in Seattle with Colt McCoy. I'm just saying.
We should have just left the band like it was, don't you think? I mean, if it ain't broke,
it was broke.
It's like one of those cars. Yes, it's got high mileage, but you're getting by. Let's not. All of a sudden you decide, let's just revamp the whole engine, and man, now the engine's not running quite like it was before. So
should have just got a new one.
Whew, yeah.
Should have got a new one. All right, my friend. Be well.
Guys.
Later.
Bye.
I mean, it wasn't all Jason Garrett, was it? And again,
they're not good. It does. We've talked about it all year long. The strength of this team is the offensive line. It's no good. Aged out and injuries, and they paid defenders who are not living up to the contracts. So if you're looking at say a top 5, top 6 pick for the Dallas Cowboys, you start with best offensive and or defensive lineman available, and you go from there.
It's got to be on the line. No, it absolutely has to be, because they're not very good, and it starts on the lines. 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Carl sent an email, jeff@610knbl.com. It says, added games, ? Jeff, once Lobo football leaves beautiful Henderson, Nevada, it's back to individual workouts and Zoom meetings for the foreseeable future. I know they're probably ready to go home, but they better pick up as many games as they can while they have the opportunity. You can forget about having a spring practice in New Mexico. And yesterday when I heard Dr. D. Scrace say no widespread New Mexico vaccines until late summer, I got to wonder if we're in the same boat when 2021 tips off. Look, all these, I'll go back to what you said. I don't know. I mean, you'd like to believe that we're going to move, that the vaccines are going to help, that the spread is going to slow down, that at some point we peak and we come back down and we start opening things up. You got to hope. But hope is not a plan. I've been told that many times, and that's absolutely accurate. When the Isotopes canceled last season, JJ, did you think there was any way we weren't going to, at first? Now, I know as we went through the summer, we started going, oh. But, I mean, at first, all right, we'll be back next year, see you next year. There was no way we'd be having this conversation that United might not have a home game for a second year in a row, that Isotopes can't play. Like, can United do that same formula again? If they can't play at home, because if there's no Isotopes baseball, well, that's not right. They're totally different. But United relies on game day revenue too. Like, can they do another season of what they just did? How do they afford to pay players? Where's their revenue coming in? I mean, is Peter just going deeper and deeper and deeper? I know he's got a lot of money, but is he just going deeper into his pockets just to keep this dream alive?
It's not good for anyone if that happens. It's one that you need game day revenue at some point in time, whether you're the Isotopes, United, the leagues, because there's only so much you can do and be supported by the leagues themselves. And yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea what to expect when all this started, and it's been a shock to the system. And I understand, hope is not a plan, but I don't even know what plan you can have right now in New Mexico moving forward.
No, you got to have a bunch, and it's still there, because April feels like it's a long way away. But in planning, look, I know how quick these things come. I know how hard this is to do. I'm doing one in Frisco, Texas, a week from tomorrow. It's not easy. First, you gotta do everything you can to keep it here and do what you can, and then you got to make tough decisions. But I don't know. I mean, is his thought of are we in this boat next football season far off? I don't know. I hope it is, but I don't think it is. Grady says the not so great debate that's on college football. Just say to this BCS 2.0, 5 conference champs, 1 group of 5, and 2 at large. Easy peasy. Save the debate for bubble teams, which is who deserves it. For the life of me, I can't understand the argument that more debate is good, because we're not talking about college football. You're telling me talking heads making excuses for the SEC and taking pot shots at the Pac-12 and the Big Ten because they don't pass the eye test is better than conference championships actually playing games? Really? This playoff is a sham, he says. My hot take for the day, Grady and Santa Fe by way of my Yahoo account. Okay. I know you're on that board too.
I think that is the next great step for college football, is putting meaning back into all the conference championship games.
Sean on the line.
All right. Get back to the phones, 505-246-0610. When we come back, you can get in emails, jeff@610knml.com, jj@610knml.com. I got a bunch there. I'm talking about Boise State and their head coach, Brian Harsin, saying, we're better than this league. We need to get out. What does that mean? We're talking about the Alice Cowboys. There's no D in Dallas. They gave up 296 yards rushing yesterday. They don't get that D back. Talking about the Lobos starting a 5th-string quarterback at Fresno State this week. We got a whole lot to do. Hey, you spend money, you buy stuff. Does your credit card pay you? If you have the Independence credit card from Kirtland Federal Credit Union, you're getting 1.5% unlimited cash back with every single purchase. Tank of gas, 1.5%. Holiday gifts, 1.5%. Morning coffee, 1.5%, no limits. We all have things to pay for. If you're not earning some of that money back, you don't have the Independence credit card. Awesome rates, easy and fast approval. Get started today. KirtlandFCU.org/credit card. That's KirtlandFCU.org/credit card. Apply today. Kirtland Federal Credit Union, they are more than military. They are for life. Kirtland Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender federally insured by the NCUA.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man, touchdown, Wildcats. Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Late to third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
look closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what
Hill's gonna just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
And he's gonna fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Heavyweight tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer.
Dallas Cowboys. Telling you, you got to earn that D, and they don't have any. You heard it here on the Sports Soundbite. Thursday night is tomorrow. Get the Rams and Patriots tomorrow night? Huh? Patriots stayed out in L.A. all week? Is that what I got? 5:30 tomorrow night?
Just
Micah?
rang.
6 o'clock tomorrow night. Patriots stayed out.
Lobo talk at 5.
Lobo talk at 5. All right. Patriots stayed out in L.A. I don't know if you remember last week they beat the Chargers 45-0 in SoFi Stadium. So they didn't move their stuff out of their locker room, and they just stayed in SoCal, enjoyed some of those big swells that are coming because of the
billboard.
Yeah.
Out there.
45-0
One of those highways.
405 right there. Yeah, right there. No, the 405. No.
Patriots just put a billboard. 45-0.
45-0. 405. You can't do 405 without 45. And they were just hanging out, enjoying the swells because, that storm that's coming in up off the Baja made for pretty good surf down in Southern California today. So they're enjoying that. The Rams and Pats tomorrow, brah. 505-246-0610. Let's go to it, brah. Sean, you're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. What's up, Sean?
Going good today. Another good day for Jets fans, right? Nothing bad has happened yet.
Nothing bad happens. The Cowboys looked worse than you did.
Did Leighton Vander Esch get coached up by Greg Williams for that play? How do you not keep your eyes on Lamar Jackson?
I don't know, man.
A spy on Derek Carr, but you can't put a spy on Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, Derek Carr, but yeah, that's a really good point, right? We're watching Derek Carr, but don't worry about Lamar Jackson, who ran for 100 yards yesterday, or damn near.
Yeah. I think they're confusing him with that cornerback from Nebraska that the Jets have.
Yeah, that Lamar Jackson that got burned by Henry Ruggs?
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that Lamar Jackson, yeah.
But maybe I keep going to call them the San Diego Chargers.
I do too, do it.
The
That's what they are.
Can get Greg Williams to fix that defense over there. So they put up 0 points against the Patriots this year.
Greg Williams to the Chargers.
Time, right?
Yeah, that's probably right. Or could
the coaching candidates for the Jets. We all know everyone wants the enemy, but looking at the Eagles, that gives me fear for any coaching tree that Andy Reid gives off. Andy Reid is a great coach, but his offensive coordinators don't call plays.
So it's really interesting how these trees work, right? People keep hiring off of Belichick's tree, and Vrabel's the only one who's had success, correct? Is anybody else had success off of his tree? Andy Reid's tree.
Vrabel's success was marginal to begin with.
It's pretty good now.
Yeah. Who knew Ryan Tannehill would be a savior? Thank you, Adam Gase.
He did. I mean, you got to give him credit for that, don't you?
Yeah, he turned that team around. But the only coaching candidates that I really see will take Harbaugh out of the equation in case he stays in Ann Arbor for some reason. But Bill Cowher and, like I said, Jim Caldwell are the two coaches that would be happy the Jets would take.
I like Jim Caldwell a lot. I really liked it. I mean, I've always liked Cowher. I think Cowher's a great coach. I just, after 13 years sitting on the set at CBS, I mean, I guess you don't forget how to coach, but can a game pass you by? I think it can. I think that's a risk. I think Caldwell is a good call.
Well, with Cowher, you look at what Gruden has done since he came away from the game.
Okay.
It's not like the guy was unplugged completely. Cowher's been an analyst for
That's fair.
years.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I hope something works out for the Jets, finally. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for always keeping us happy, especially in this year. You guys are great. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sean. Be well. Did you see the report? I want to say it was Monday. That Michigan is talking about an extension for Jim Harbaugh. That they want. I think he's got 1 year left, so it's hard to recruit. And the AD is having a conversation about extending him.
It's hard to recruit because you're not winning. And you can't beat Ohio State.
Well, yeah, they're not even playing Ohio State, but they can't beat Rutgers, let alone Ohio State. I mean, I guess they did beat Rutgers. They can't beat Indiana and Penn State and anybody else, not Northwestern or anybody else. I guess they did beat Rutgers, right, on that last second. That was that really good game, that late night. Yeah, they did beat them. All right, Lobo Hobo says, Jeff, have we seen Tavaka Tuioti play his final game in a Lobo uniform? I'm going to tell you no, because he's a junior. And I think he would be back next year. And I think the way Lobos, whether he's your starting quarterback next year or not, the way Lobos go through quarterbacks, I think he'll play again. I can't guarantee that. I wouldn't put the percentage at 95%. I'd put it closer to 65% that I think he's going to play. But, I mean, where are you on that?
I'm with the in the camp of health, if he's cleared. And there's not long-term health concerns, but you just never know after concussions that absolutely you bring a redshirt senior back to be a part of your roster because you are on QB5 right now.
Yeah, you bring up something that I brought up a couple weeks ago, and I didn't bring it up after conversations with anybody. It's just out of straight human concern. This is the third time Tavaka has missed playing time because of a concussion, correct? That we know of. And this one obviously is pretty severe because he's been out. Would this be his fourth game, right? I'm not speculating. I'm just asking. Okay, I don't know that there's anything major, but at what point do you say, is it worth it for the young man, right? For your health. And again, I'm not speculating. I don't know that there is anything more drastic on this one. I'm just sitting here from afar saying it's been multiple. And this one seems like it's more severe because
absolutely he's not clear.
4 weeks later, he's not clear. Yeah.
Standing on the sidelines on a football.
Yeah. Yeah, and so to his point, I think that's got a factor into it as well. Is there a decision made where the young man says, you know what, I'm just going to get my degree and move on with my life? I don't know. I mean, I don't think Tavaka Tuioti is going to be in the NFL, do you? It's not a knock on him. Please don't take it that way.
No.
So, all right. Lancer is the OD answer, says Bad Street. The Women's Timber Cutting Championship. Way to stay on topic. What they get to win, Micah? They get a beer? A big old beer. They don't get a trophy. They get a big old stein of beer.
Beer steins.
Full. And they're good looking, he said. I mean, what else do you want?
Great exercise chopping the wood.
Chopping the wood. Chopping the wood. All right. We're going to take a little we got to take a little break. Here's what I want to hear from you today. Alice Cowboy fan, where are you? Can you please now realize you've got a problem? You have no D. You're Alice. You're not Dallas. You got beat 34-17. They ran through you, around you, up you, just destroyed you. We haven't got into Dez, the whole Dez Bryant conversation. What are you laughing at me for? All right, I must have said something that probably didn't work. I'll have to go back and listen to the tape. I want to get more conversation on the Boise State football thing and their head coach saying we're better than this league. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Out the lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double kick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen against White. Step back, it's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up. Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes!
Corner Frazier splits two Blue Devils. Alley-oop to Coburn, who lays it up and in. Oh, Frazier like lightning found Coburn inside.
Because lightning always finds Colbert. Frazier like lightning. It was Illinois radio. Illinois beat Duke at Cameron yesterday, 83-68. Duke's already lost 2 games at home this year. Now, granted, pretty good competition, but that was yesterday. But that was the big one yesterday. Fort Hays State beat Kansas State. That's Fort Hays State, NAIA. Kansas State, Big 12, 81-61 in the Little Apple yesterday. Huh? Did you see that one, JJ? You did see that? Fort Hays State.
I can't say I saw it, but what a victory.
Yeah,
How about these
right.
NAIA schools?
Oh,
Stepping up big time, saying, all right, you want to play us? You think we're going to be pushovers? Not so fast.
Become ball two. That's right. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Micah produces the radio side.
Jeff, sorry to interrupt you there, but the Illinois highlight plays well into the conversation because after said game, Mike Krzyzewski is questioning, should they even be playing right now? So you lose twice, and now you're worried about the safety of your student.
What did he say? Why are we playing?
He said, quote, I would just like for the safety, the mental and physical health of players and staff to assess where we're at.
What does that even mean? We shouldn't be playing because we're losing?
That's the way it comes across.
Did he question it before they lost?
No, it came after the game.
So what's the issue? Look, I get it, man. Where everybody's taking a risk going out, and if you don't want to play, don't play. I think there's plenty of people who have opted out, and you get your year back, and everybody recognizes what's going on. Is it better to just sit down? And I know a lot of people believe this, so I'm asking. But is it better just to sit, not play, shut everything down, and hope it all goes away? Or call new mail. Oh, wait, that's something else. I mean, what's he saying? What's he telling me? That they shouldn't play? Then don't play. I mean, honestly, it's really that easy. Then don't play. Well, Kansas won yesterday. Terry said yesterday was happy when Kansas won the game, but also felt for the Creighton player who missed the last free throw, and his mother. They kept showing during this free throw attempts. Did you see that? Because I did not see that. Always said it takes guts to play, whether at the AYSO or YAFA level or up to D1. You then can relate to all situations. You can be elated for a local kid throwing game-winning touchdown and be sad for other quarterback breaking his wrists at the same time. It's from Terry. Did you see the Kansas-Creighton game? Did you see the end of it? Because I did not.
Yes, the Creighton had 3 free throws at the end to tie it. The guy made the first 2, missed the last one. Jayhawks win. And speaking of Kansas, Wilson, their freshman star, is the wow guy. They're going to be pretty good, as he was last night, because they got a really experienced backcourt. But yeah, that's tough, man. He drained the first 2 and then back iron on the last one.
That's tough. That's a tough one. 3 in a row, man. You don't see 3 in a row a lot. You don't. Guy gets fouled often, he'll miss. I'd love to see the percentage on making all 3. Who'd you tell me? You always tell me, like, during, I know there's not a lot of quiet time.
Rudy.
Same Rudy?
No, Rudy C. from East LA.
All right, Rudy's on the line. Hello, Rudy. How you doing?
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Good morning.
Morning. Rudy, what's up?
I know you're a Valley boy.
You didn't know that?
Nah, since I'm from East LA, I didn't know that. Hey, did your girlfriends talk like that in the movie? Valley
Totally.
Girls? Remember that movie?
Like, oh my God! Like it was. Some of our girls at our school were in the Valley Girl calendar when that thing came out. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
For sure,
Gag me with a spoon.
Like that?
Yep, totally. Oh my God, gag me with a spoon. Totally, Rudy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's all crazy.
Yeah. Hopefully Belichick doesn't make a detour off that 405 and end up like Kevin Kline in the movie Grand Canyon. You ever see that?
I did not.
Oh, come on. Grand Canyon, the opening scene, Kevin Kline and Pete Martin are leaving the Forum. Kevin Kline takes a detour in the bad part of Eaglewood.
Yeah, there's a bad part.
He gets surrounded by gangsters, and then Danny Glover comes as a tow driver and saves them, and they become best friends. But anyways, the enemy, that would be great to see him with the head coaching position, because we watched him in L.A. when he went to Bishop Ahmad as a running back in high school. And he was such an awesome runner. The only other kid I've seen like that from here was Ronnie Daniels, and unfortunately that had a bad ending to that.
Yeah, it did. He was terrific. No, it's good. All right, Rudy, be safe out there. Good to hear you.
Hey, ram it tomorrow night.
No doubt. Ram it tomorrow. All right, I got to watch Grand Canyon. Danny Glover saving the guy who makes the wrong turn. What did you say? There was something in there. Belichick making the wrong turn to Inglewood would be interesting. It just would be. Jeffrey, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Jeffrey.
Good morning. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. So let me just set up my comment by saying I'm a lifelong Cowboy fan. Probably 1968, somewhere in there. Believe it or not, I'm just dating myself. The only thing that was on Sundays as far as sports were the Cowboys. I don't even think the Broncos were broadcast at that time. So for Christmas that year, long story short, my grandmother, because my mother had passed away, gave me a Dallas Cowboy uniform. I put it on, went to a photo shop, took a photo. So I've been a Cowboy fan for that long. I think one of the worst things that can happen to a brand is when people ignore the brand. And I think 1983, 84, when Betamax was competing with VHS, Betamax was woefully inferior to VHS usage-wise, and it was almost cost prohibitive as well. So what happened to Betamax is it became, in the annals of marketing, completely irrelevant and ignored.
It became a professional product,
that's
actually.
Happening to the Cowboys, because they're just so woefully uncompetitive that they're just not even interesting. And it's not, perhaps I'm being a bit anecdotal, but I have a lot of family that just they're not even interested in watching some of the games anymore. And that's one of the worst things that can happen to a brand or a team like that is when they become irrelevant. And if you further dissect what that means, they're irrelevant because they're dull and interesting and not. I think it's a systemic problem with the organization. Players aren't very good. The coaches, I think there's questions about that. And the people that make the decisions about the very architecture of the organization, I think there's been questions about Jerry Jones for 30 years now or 25 years. So I think they are in danger, to Edward's point. And I'm a Cowboy fan. I mean, I watch the games, but they're just dull, insipid, and not even interesting because they're not competitive. And I think Oprah Winfrey said the worst thing you can do to someone is ignore them. And I think a lot of folks that enjoy the Cowboys are finding them to be woefully. You can ignore them because they're not competitive, because they're dull and not interesting, and they are in danger of becoming irrelevant. It's almost kind of what happened possibly to the Lobo basketball team. I hope that doesn't happen. I think they will resurrect the brand over the next few years, but I think the same kind of parallel can be drawn. But, I'm a lifelong fan, and I think Edward made some excellent points. And I'm not a hater. I am an advocate of the team.
No, you're in. All right. No, it's good, Jeffrey. Thank you. And JJ, I don't think he's wrong. I just, what's exciting about them other than their brand? Their quarterback was exciting. But other than their brand and their owners out there every day.
They're not different than a lot of teams that are struggling. But we talk about them more in that conversation because they matter. They're not ever going to be irrelevant. They're not. You
not in this market.
So to talk about the Cowboys. There's a reason they select that team every year for prime time.
Yeah.
Every year.
Well, it's the fan base. They've got a gigantic fan base, and that'll keep them from being.
So I agree with all the points that there's issues with the Cowboys. Like, I don't know what. They signed a bunch of defensive players and they didn't work. The offensive line aged out and got hurt. Like, yeah, they have to rebuild all that. And your starting quarterback broke his ankle. But in terms of, like, what else can you do? They're a bad football team right now. They have to rebuild. You can't change that in the moment. But they're not going to fade into obscurity.
On a national level, you don't think so?
No.
We're going to talk about them here.
Even if you haven't won any Super Bowl. And I get people get sick of the Cowboys, but being sick of the Cowboys still means they're always going to be a part of the conversation. It's like when the Lakers went through their lean years, they didn't.
Lakers were pretty irrelevant. They kind of did. I mean, they kind of did. There was a good period where the Lakers were irrelevant. I think that's a great analogy, and I think they were kind of out of sight, out of mind. I mean, how much did we talk about the Lakers when they were horrible? When the Warriors were on their run?
For 90% of 90% of teams in every league then?
I guess I didn't hear the question.
Well, like, if you're not good, then isn't everyone that's not good irrelevant and out of mind? Like, not every team is going to be great every year.
Yeah, we don't talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, you're right. We don't talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves.
We talk about the Cowboys constantly because of the point. I do think there's irrational expectations, and because they're never going to fade away regardless of their record.
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit of a different perspective being in this market with so many Cowboy fans too. Right, that's kind of essentially the de facto local NFL team in this market. 505-246-0610. I'm going to get through as many of the and really good emails when we get back. I got a Jason email. We're soft, says Omar. People want to watch. It's the opening drive on 95. Scrap Dak on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal and Pro.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide coaches award program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos. Step back. High arcing. Twine!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this. They're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak. Ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato. Up high. Down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
All right, let's go. Alice Cowboys and their defense that doesn't exist. That means you get no D in Alice. Got a lot of emails to get to you. Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. We talked about Boise State claiming they went out of the Mountain West and realignment, and what would that mean? Good morning, OD, from Jason. So the question was asked about the AAC having a Western Division with BYU as the centerpiece. BYU just signed a huge contract with ESPN, so that might be a stumbling block. The Mountain West, however, should be nervous because if Boise, Air Force, and San Diego State decide to bolt and become the Western Division of the AAC with Houston, SMU, and Tulsa, that severely damages the Mountain West. And for those that say, well, we still have our marquee basketball programs, here's a stat. Since 2014, who are the programs that have not played in any postseason? NCAA, NIT, CIT, CBI. It would be Air Force, San Jose State, UNLV, and New Mexico. Currently, you are a two-bid league behind the West Coast Conference, and with those defections, you become a one-bid league rivaling the WAC, who is making realignment news as well. Crimson Jason. P.S. So the conversation of the Mountain West will be fine without Boise is interesting, considering we hear from Lobo fan that the Mountain West needs UNM to be good for the conference to be relevant. It's the same argument, or is it the same line of Oscar Mayer? And then he said AAC East, WAC adds Sam Houston, Abilene Christian, Sam Houston, Abilene Christian, Stephen F. Austin, Southern Utah, and Lamar. Ooh, how does that make you feel? Yeah, there was a lot there. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think the Mountain West is better off without Boise.
Nobody does.
I get the frustration and wanting more, but what is that more? Like, are you really better off in the AAC because you get the same exact thing? If you go undefeated and win that conference, you go undefeated and win the Mountain West, you're in the same spot.
Yeah, I agree. Carl says, what about New Mexico State? At least Lobo football played games. Fearless Dougie's guys are looking at 2 years with no football. If you think Michelle Lujan Grisham is going to let them breeze against Nowhere Tech and Timbuktu State in February, I got Swampland and Socorro for sale cheap. That's a really good point. They have 2 home games scheduled in February. What are the odds of playing those?
Probably have to play them at, Dixie State? Tarleton State.
Yeah, I guess you go on the road and play, but you got to practice, don't you? I mean, you're not just putting them together and playing. You can't practice right now. That's a really, I didn't even thought of that. Omar says we're soft, just like Lobo football quarterbacks. We play tough until we get punched in the mouth, and then we pull up lame. I expect the more out of the NFL's most complete franchise. If Jerry can't coach toughness, I guess he's going to have to go out and recruit it. It's from Omar. He also says, ooh la la, people want to watch the NFL's most complete franchise. Even a hastily arranged contest with the Cowboys whipped everything else. They got good ratings last night. And he says, scrap Dak. If Dallas can't beat the Bengals and get back into the division race, I think the window of opportunity with this group of guys is closed. And it's time for Coach Jones to clean house. And I believe you do that by building with freshmen. Then you get a few guys out of the transfer portal to fill the hole. So he says start all over. He says get rid of Dak, go just all over it.
I think the problem, going back to the are you relevant, irrelevant conversation, is the Cowboys are always that team that people think are so good that maybe Jerry Jones hasn't been willing to address the real issues because they're always getting primetime games, because there's a sense of they're always so close.
Yeah. No. Look, when you think you have hope, you hold on to it, and you think you built something, and you're just waiting for it to click. And the reality of having to blow the whole thing up is really tough. It's interesting. Terry compared the Cowboys to Van Halen. Jerry Jones firing Jimmy Johnson is like Van Halen getting rid of David Lee Roth. Neither were the same after. They were okay, but nothing great. The Cowboys are Van Halen. They were once great. They fired what made them great, he says, and now they're as someone once said. Oh, look at you. That's not my end music. That's just some Van Halen, right?
Music for you.
Just want to make sure.
The one button he has available. It's like, yeah, I can use the Van Halen drop. Buying these and sitting on that forever.
well, I had it when we with the Van Halen and what's his name passed away.
Right, when Eddie Van Halen died.
So, yeah. So I had that, in there, and I kept it in there, and good thing I did.
Nice. It's so good with your face. It's good to be able to see you guys now. With the Zoom goodie, because when you do something like that, you get this little look on your face, like, see what I did? Like this.
I like to be able to push my buttons.
No, it's
my
good.
Sound effects.
It's actually really good. Gopher said Rudy's phone. Boy, Jeff, we've had some bad connections the last few weeks, and then Jeffrey comes on. It sounds like a strawberry sundae. Quite a contrast. I don't even know what's the strawberry sundae sound like.
It sounds good right now.
It's fair enough. Yes, it sounds good right now. All right. Lobo women's basketball looks like they've got a game Southeast Louisiana. They'll play at Sela. Are you going? Do you know where Southeast Louisiana is? I mean, like is that Nacogdoches?
In the southeast part of Louisiana.
Is that Nacogdoches? I mean, I know like where Southeast is. Like it's the bottom right of the state. I got that part. But you're not going to that game, right? You'll do it remotely? I'm going to guess.
I just assume so right now.
All right. On the 18th, which is coming up quick. That's next Friday. So that's what we got on the schedule for Lobo women, and still nothing on the schedule for the men, right? No.
Nothing concrete.
All right. Jim Rome Show will be next. The Dan Patrick Show follows that. The sports bars this afternoon at 3. That's Local Talk with Trulio and Carlisle. And then we'll be back, I don't know, you want to say 7 a.m. tomorrow? More award-winning radio then? Game day tomorrow. Rams, Patriots. Belichick took a wrong turn to Inglewood. Ended up, sorry for the swell, brah. He went down to Manhattan Beach. The south-facing beaches, though, get some really nice swells from what I understand. Good job on the ProView side. That was Alden and Josh who brought you the pictures today. Micah, terrific work on the radio side. JJ, go have fun today. Enjoy your day.
Absolutely, y'all. Enjoy your day.
All right. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll see you tomorrow.
is looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. Day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown, Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24 Rancho. Late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown.
What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.